Scottish Government has released new guidelines this morning on the future of school uniforms. The guidance, which isn't legally binding, says schools should encourage pupils to wear generic, non-branded, gender-neutral items. It also says they shouldn't promote or make compulsory the wearing of school blazers. So is this the end of the school uniform as we know it, or just confirmation of what's actually happening in most schools? Well, Sandra Douglas has set up the East Renfrewshire Back to School Clothing Bank in 2015, and Andrea Bradley is the General Secretary of the Educational Institute for Scotland Teaching Union. Morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Andrea, I know you've had eyes over the new guidance this morning. What are your thoughts on it?
So there's a lot in here that certainly chimes with EIS policy around school uniform wearing and school uniform policy in schools. We've been providing guidance to our members on this since 2015 also, and we made a significant contribution to the drafting of the guidance, and I can see from just having had a very quick look at it that a lot of the contributions that my colleagues made in this discussion have been taken on board, and that's a good thing. So there is a lot of commonality in terms of what the Scottish Government is advising here and what the EIS has been advising members over a long period of time.
Can I just check, who makes the decision about a school uniform? Is it the individual head teacher at schools, or is it something that, the education department in a local authority would decide that they want all schools wearing uniforms and filter that down to people?
So generally these decisions are made at school level. We would suggest that a lot of the decisions are not being made unilaterally by head teachers, but the decisions are being taken through collegiate discussion with staff, involving parents, involving young people, and from our point of view that would be the model way to develop a school uniform policy that we would wish to be the most inclusive and the most equity focused that it could be. And you've got a better chance of succeeding in that if you involve all the interested parties in that space.
You've been involved in making these guidelines. You've had your own guidelines. It strikes me that a lot of it's stating what's already on the go rather than breaking with any real sort of huge guidelines.
Yeah, well, I mean, there will be many schools in the country that are already doing this kind of thing, that have already had this type of, leaning within their own policy, or this type of consideration within their own policy. But we do know that it is patchy. The EIS, for example, is about to not reissue, but to update guidance that we issued to members around the impact of poverty in education back in 2015. We're going to launch a new edition of that advice on the 1st of October, and we're doing that because we know that there are still issues that we think that teachers and schools need to be supported to think about. So we're certainly doing our part to contribute to that support, and it's helpful that the government is doing the same. Though I would suggest that a major piece of advice or guidance on school uniform should maybe have come out several months before young people were returning to school. That would have been a more helpful signalling of the policy position of the government in relation to this.
Yeah, the timing seems a bit odd for Scottish schools returning.